Former manager mocked my name at the bar. One script and a camera still flipped the room, and forced a new guest policy on names. Like and subscribe now. Wild service industry revenge ahead. I work front of house in a downtown restaurant where Friday sound checks vibrate glass, and cheap fame feeds on eye contact. Years ago, our so-called manager arrived by friendship, not merit. She wore a title like a costume, poured herself samples that were not samples, and treated the dining room like a stage for big volume. Loud playlists, louder gossip, zero table checks. The night security logged a fourth noise complaint and a third comp bill. She still tried to host while twerking by the host stand. Phone up for selfies. The rest of us ran food and apologies. She lasted barely a year. The big boss who had hired his friend finally stopped shielding her when a health inspector wrote up open containers on the service side. 2 days later, her badge clicked red, and the office door stayed shut. I copied 3 artifacts before the system archived them. A schedule screenshot showing her title as assistant supervisor, an incident log listing on shift drinking, and a printout of the policy that says alcohol consumption while working is grounds for termination. I taped those pages inside a thin red folder labeled receipts and got back to work. She spun the firing into a victim tour around town, buying shots, telling anyone who would listen that jealous coworkers tanked her career. In a service city, reputation moves faster than traffic, and her still found a seat at bars that trade in drama. Months passed, the room breathed, and my partner moved behind the bar. We built a rhythm that felt like craft, not chaos. Still, every so often a story about her slid across the pass like a stray plate. She seemed to need an audience more than oxygen. I learned to keep my eyes on the ticket rail. Then one ordinary night, she found a new way to irritate me without ever saying my name. Where does a person like that land when the room stops clapping? My spouse tends bar at the same place now. Steadier hands than mine when a 6-top orders 5 different martinis and the water with exact ice. On a slow Tuesday, she slid onto a corner stool, sunglasses pushed up like a crown, and asked him if he was still with that girl he was dating. Not my name, not even a shrug toward it. Just that girl, like a placeholder you never bothered to replace. He texted me between tickets, low-key, because you can either pour or process, not both. His message said starred. She asked if I am still with that girl. I told her yes, with my partner, whose name you know. I screenshotted the thread, circled the timestamp, and dropped it into the red folder with a sticky that reads Petty Weapon Number 1. Later he told me she laughed like she had knocked a glass off a table and wanted applause for the shatter. Months before, whenever we crossed paths in daylight, she tried the same script in reverse, a slow-motion air kiss, and an oh-hi followed by my name stretched thin like gum. People who feed on attention use names like volume knobs. Turn down, turn up, always about sound. I wrote it down in a notes file titled Patterns, because writing drains poison faster than venting. Artifact row grew again. The text screenshot, a bartender log slip with the exact time she sat, and a shift journal page, where I wrote how a name can be a kindness or a blade. I did not answer her. I did not clap for the performance. I waited, because service teaches patience, whether you want it or not. Waiting is not weakness. It is choosing the room where you will answer. Which room would it be when the chance finally walked in? Later I pulled a still from the rail camera that watches that stool. Her elbow rests on polished wood, straw between teeth, smile caught just before the jab. I saved the image, not to post, only to remember how small a move looks without sound. The room smelled like cut citrus and sanitizer, music down to a human pitch, a slow hour that asks for mischief and gets it. I kept a tiny ritual after that Tuesday. End of shift, I would write 3 sentences in my pocket notebook. What was said, what it meant, what I would do if it happened again. Writing keeps me from confusing adrenaline with strategy. The pages read like a weather log for petty storms. Line after line said the same thing in different clothes. A person who runs on attention will swing at names to make herself taller. I clipped a copy of our company's guest interaction guide to the notebook, the page that says use names respectfully and never as a joke, because even bar rooms need language rules. I also printed a city notice about her termination, not to gloat, to remind myself that consequences had already spoken once. Artifact row widened. Notebook pages dated and initialed, the interaction guide, a folded notice from the labor board that matched the day her badge went dead. I decided my play would be oxygen control, not decibels. If she wanted to define me as that girl, I would define her as a stranger with no claim on my time. Not cruelty, not a scene, just a precise hole where her name used to live. I wrote a script on an index card and practiced it on walks to work. Oh hey, sorry. Remind me of your name. Not a sneer. Not a grin. Just plain as a tea order. Denying attention is louder than any toast in a room built for applause. I told my partner the plan, and he laughed into a bar towel in that way you do when something is harmless and perfect. He asked what I would do if she finally used my name like a grown-up. I said then we would be done, small mercy extended, no further steps. Either way, I wanted the room to hear the difference. Would she hand me the chance, or keep pretending names are optional? The chance came on a charity night that turns our dining room into a small thunderstorm of chatter and card swipes. Street lamps smeared rain across the windows, a band-tested old soul covers in the back, and our floor map bristled with arrows for auction tables and a step and repeat nobody needed. I taped the map to the service stand, slid a stack of silent auction pens into a glass, and watched 100 name tags cross the threshold. My partner texted from the well with 2 words and a period that read like a drum hit. She's here. I looked up and saw her orbit the room in a glittery jacket that flashed like fish scales, greeting donors like long-lost cousins, kissing cheeks, posing with cocktails she had not bought. She clocked me, pivoted, and performed an oh hi that bent across the noise, with my name stretched like taffy for the audience. I felt the old reflex reach for sarcasm, and I put my hand on the index card in my pocket instead, the one that held the sentence I had practiced until it felt like a neutral tool. Artifact row for the night. The floor map with circles in green, the text from the well, a playlist print with the band set list, a receipt chit stamped charity pour when the bar comped the first round. I started a silent count to 5 the way you do when you let a guest finish a toast before you clear plates. The band slid into a warm horn line, and the room moved with it. She leaned in, eyes bright with the thrill of being seen. I did not flinch. I lifted my chin, put a gentle smile on it, and reached for the line I had saved for a night exactly like this one. Would a single sentence land louder than months of noise? The glitter jacket shed tiny sequins that caught on the rubber mat. Later I would find one stuck to my apron like a badge for not taking the bait. A donor waved a paddle near the host stand. A photographer's flash popped, and the smell of lemon peel rose from the well. I let all of it pass through me until only the sentence remained, clean and ready. I let the beat land, and then, as if we were 2 pleasant strangers at a tasting, I said, "Oh, hey, how's it going? I am sorry. I seem to have forgotten your name. What was it again?" It left my mouth light and exact, no spice, no smirk. The nearest 2 donors both smiled into their glasses. The band singer missed a word and caught it, and her face rearranged itself in fast little steps. First the disbelief, then the scan for a camera, then the pinch at the corner of the mouth that says the line hit, the only place that can bruise a person who lives on attention. She said her first name too quickly, then added her last name like a title, then tacked on the word manager as if reciting a charm would return a job that ended months ago. I tilted my head with the same gentle curiosity I use when a guest mispronounces a varietal and said, "Nice to meet you," then glanced at a donor's auction sheet as if I were already elsewhere. Artifact row in the moment. The auction sheet with her reflection warped in its plastic cover. A timestamp on the register tape that marks the second the band dropped a beat. A note I jotted on the back of my index card that reads Oxygen Works. My partner caught my eye from the well and lifted his chin in a small salute that only I could see. She opened her mouth for a second try and found no purchase. A room that expects service does not pause long for someone with nothing to order. She pivoted to the nearest paddle holder and performed a fresh greeting with a volume that made the glitter on her cuffs quiver. The little sequin on my apron stuck like a medal. I felt the thought I had not planned for flicker through my chest. What if she runs to the owner with a story that uses my line as a weapon against my job? I touched the red folder in my bag and felt the squared edges of policy and incident logs pressed back. The night was not over. Would she try to reclaim the room, or had the room already reclaimed itself? The room did what rooms do when a performance misses its cue. It refocused on the work. I stepped behind the host stand and opened a fresh incident note titled Charity Night. Name misuse, logged the time, the sentence I used, and the behavior observed, then dropped in a still from the rail camera labeled Barstool View, glitter jacket, and a copy of our guest interaction guide with the line about names highlighted. I printed a 1-page summary for the general manager with a calm subject, former employee boundary, quiet handling, and attached the artifacts plus the labor board notice from the week she was let go. The off-ramp was plain. We will serve her like any guest when behavior is respectful. If she resumes targeting staff with misnaming, We escalate to a formal trespass warning through security. I slid the envelope into the office door slot and added a sticky that read for morning walkthrough. At close, I taped a tiny thank you card to the well for my partner that said Oxygen Control Works, then filed the incident note in a red folder marked events so it would live outside memory. The band packed cables. Donors posed for one last flash. A lemon twist skated across the rubber mat and fell. I swept the sequin off my apron and into the tip cup like a merit badge. No one could pin for me. When the lights came up, the glitter jacket had migrated to another orbit, and the host stand smelled like sanitizer and sleep. So I locked the drawer, counted pens, and set the floor map under a paperweight shaped like a pear. The night had left a hum in the glass. I left the hum where it belonged. By brunch, the city's rumor loop had finished breakfast and opened its phone. A friend texted me 3 stories she had posted overnight. Video from the charity floor with my shoulder in frame. Captions accusing jealous staff of hostility. And a tag for our restaurant typed wrong on purpose so attention could hunt, but brand could not answer easily. I took screenshots with timestamps and saved them under a folder titled Posts About Staff, then opened our handbook to the quiet paragraph that bans filming staff while on duty and printed it, underlining the sentence that says footage from private events requires consent. I drafted a 2-line note to the GM. No public reply from me. Here are the captures for Brand Archive. Willing to file a statement if legal prefers. He answered in 3 words, got it, thank you, and posted the blandest brand message imaginable. We do not discuss personnel. We support our team and our partners. See you at the next fundraiser. Artifact row on my desk. Screenshots of the stories. Policy excerpt. No filming staff. GM's email reply. And a service standards refresher memo he slid into schedules for next week that added 2 tiny rails. Names are respect. Former employee boundaries route through manager. That night she tried the bar across the street and got cut off after an hour by a bouncer who once trained with ours. A line cook brought me a receipt photo from there till stamp served water only, and I filed it not as glee, as climate. I kept my script in my pocket. Glitter travels, process stays. The wall calendar read like the night never happened. The red folder said otherwise. I shelved the folder and let the room breathe. A week later she arrived with 2 friends and a camera smile, sliding onto the same corner stool like a coin finding its groove. She ordered a round, then a second, then tried to hover a third by name-dropping a former title as if saying assistant supervisor out loud could print comps. My partner kept his tone level, rang everything clean, and said waters without commentary. When she leaned over the rail and called me that girl again for the benefit of her audience, I tapped the well bell twice for a manager call and stepped back so the floor had a witness. Our security lead walked up in a blazer and a measured voice and placed a half-sheet titled Guest Standards beside her napkin, the line about respectful address circled in blue. You are welcome as a guest, he said, and we will keep serving you if you keep this. She tried an old trick, louder, and he pulled a second half-sheet from a clipboard titled Trespass Warning, Pre-issue info, set it down without flourish, and pointed at the bullet about targeted staff disruption. I added a single line to a fresh incident note and clipped the rail still to it. Corner stool, name misuse resumed. The bar printer chirped. My partner closed the tab with a clean total, and the security lead nodded at the door with a professional patience that says your night can change rooms or end. Her friends paid quickly and tugged her sleeve. She spun once for the invisible camera and found none. The half-sheet stayed behind, neat and readable, as she left. The door settled. The bell stopped vibrating. I wiped the rail, breathed in citrus and stainless, and tucked the incident note into the red folder. Somewhere in town another bar would take her louder. Our room had chosen a quieter verb. Consequences showed up as ordinary upgrades more powerful than a speech. The GM stapled a 1-pager to our pre-shift called Names Are Part of Service. Use precisely, with 3 examples of good usage, and 3 of the kind that turn humans into props. Laminated copies landed at every station by week's end. Security added a line to their night brief titled Former Employees as Guests, Script and Steps, so no one would improvise policy when a story wanted a stage. My partner printed a tiny crib card for new bartenders that read Ring Clean, Refuse confetti drinks after warning, route contact attempts to manager. The card fit behind the well iPad and smelled faintly of printer heat. Even the charity committee sent a thank you note that praised the calm professionalism of our team. I taped it above the break sink where grease and compliments both land eventually. Artifact row. The laminated names card, the security script, the crib card, the charity thank you. She posted a vague status about haters and aprons, and tagged every bar but ours. A cousin I like sent it to me with an eye roll emoji, and I filed it. Then let it die the way loud things do when you stop feeding them. The sequin metal lived in the pen cup until cleaning day, when it migrated to a pocket, and then to a drawer where it glittered once and slept. A month later she came in on a slow afternoon, sat, ordered tea, and used my name in a normal tone. I answered in a normal tone, rang tea, and moved on. No clink, no moral, just a working room doing what rooms can do. The red folder stayed on the shelf above the host stand. I left it there and touched the spine like a promise as I walked past. I keep the red folder marked receipts behind the host stand where my hand lands when I grab a Sharpie. Inside live dull pages that kept a bar human, a policy excerpt about names, a camera still titled Barstool View, glitter jacket, incident notes with dates and first sentences that sound like weather reports, a brand email that says got it, a thank you on charity letterhead, 2 half sheets that explain expectations without yelling. The point was never to humiliate her. It was to write a room where attention cannot bully names into props. Oxygen control beats applause. In a city that recycles drama every weekend, the only revenge that lasts is a process that leaves loud people bored. If she walks in tomorrow and tries to rearrange the furniture with volume, the rails will sing again. If she walks in and orders tea, we will serve tea and let the page do the rest. I slide the folder home and straighten the laminated card that says names or respect like I am smoothing a tablecloth before service. The glitter sequin has finally vanished into the junk drawer. The habit remains. What would you have done? Play it loud at the bar, clap back online, or run the quiet play with receipts and a smile? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss the next story.